boy next door, 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 boy next door.
With Doom Eternal coming out later this month and looking so fucking good, everyone is making videos on Doom, so I may as well join the pile. Since I don't have a real desire to cover any of the major releases, I may as well cover the reason why Doom is one of my favorite games. Its modding scene. The Doom modding scene is the best modding scene I've seen for any game scene, period. The only other game that comes close to that is Frogger, but I don't want to get sidetracked. Doom modding is a scene with a wide variety of gameplay attractions, aesthetic changes, and all the things in between. And today will be an introduction to those unfamiliar and new to this. So let's start. With getting this shit to work. The Doom engine is open source and has led to the creation of limit-removing source ports, which make running the vanilla game a breeze. First, you're going to need the iWADs. iWADs are internal WADs that contain data necessary to load the game. You can find these iWADs in your install folder for any Doom engine game. You do have a Doom engine game installed, right? Shh, don't tell anyone, but click the link in the description for DL on all the iWADs. Shh. You will primarily need an iWAD for Doom 2 titled doom2.wad, as a lot of custom content requires it. Now that you have your iWAD, you can very easily download a source port and run the game, but I would advise getting a launcher first. Personally, I use ZDL, but almost every other launcher works fine as well. Setting up ZDL should be pretty straightforward, so now it's time to talk about source ports. There's a lot of source ports one can use, but the primary one you'll be using for modding purposes is called GZDOOM, as due to its enhancements, it has allowed a lot of people to make insane shit. It does have its issues like the default options. You can configure a lot of these to your preferences, but make sure to disable texture filtering and adjust the lighting mode to one you're comfortable with. There are plenty of resources online on modifying GZDOOM settings if you're curious. If you want multiplayer, ODMX for vanilla, Syndronum for gameplay mods are your best options, but I have no experience on that front. And finally, if your source port crashes due to loading a new WAD or gameplay mod, update your source port, or look at the README and see if an older version is required. Now that we have our source ports configured, we can use ZDL to pick which iWAD we want to use, what source port, and what external files we want to launch with. Now I can give some recommendations. As this is an introductory video, I'll be focusing on popular, well-regarded mods as an entry point, and no other WAD is as good as an entry point as Scythe 2. Scythe 2 is seen by many as a classic and one of the all-time greats, which I strongly agree with. Created by Eric Alm, it is considered a spiritual successor to Eric's previous work, Scythe. Usual Scythe featured small, condensed maps. Scythe 2 is the opposite though, as many of its maps are much more complex in terms of layout and design. It also features 6 episodes, with the first 3 being Gothic, Egyptian, and Industrial themed. Its difficulty also makes it a good entry point for new players. It's harder than original Doom and Doom 2, but is about on par with Plutonia in my experience. Just with less Dickus traps, obviously. There is a reason I've seen quite a few people use Scythe 2 as a testing ground for gameplay mods, as not many WADs has this level of variety and quality in terms of its level design and visuals. There is, however, one WAD that came out recently that many, including myself, see as a sort of successor to Scythe 2. Eve Eternity is something you've probably heard of, as it's gotten a lot of coverage, and rightfully so. The majority of maps, created by Joshua O. Sullivan, who goes by the online name Dragonfly. It features 6 episodes much like Scythe 2, with the first 3 being medieval, tech-based, and icy castle themed. There are also new enemies and an alteration to the pistol, which now has a perfect accuracy plus a faster fire rate. It's not just the different episodic themes and enemies that make Eve Eternity feel refreshing hours in, but it's also a level of variety that ranges from dense slaughters to large areas that can last up to half an hour, or even an hour in the case of one map. Some maps are different in terms of where large packs of demons are placed, and others in terms of what weapons you are limited to. I could keep going on and suck this WAD's dick even more, talk about the incredible soundtrack, which is primarily composed by James Paddock, or how the final episode might be my favorite string of levels I've played in a WAD. But I got other things to cover, like this HUD I have. Full screen status bar is a HUD modification by KnifeRay, and is something I always run when playing vanilla. It shows a transparent status bar, and can display level stats on the screen without needing to view the auto map or using a different HUD. Speaking of add-ons, there's also auto save, or just auto-save, as it's meant to be called. An autosave mod that allows you to set when you want the game to save for you, in case you want to refrain from quick saving every second, or you constantly forget to save and thus lose a ton of progress because of it. There are plenty of other add-ons I could go over. For example, do you want more gore but don't want to be too extreme? Go with something like Nash's Gore mod, which allows you to fully customize just how much blood and guts you want. But I think I know what you want to see. Gameplay mods. Let's see, where do I start with? Yeah, we'll go with this one. DRL, short for Doom the Roguelike, is, well, a roguelike based on Doom, and featured a lot of new mechanics, weapons, and pickups. So of course, someone decided to port some of these elements back into original Doom. That someone being Yol, I think that's how you pronounce it, with help of all of these names on screen. And thus, Doom Roguelike Arsenal was born, which features the class system, new weapons, and many other elements from its source material, which is based on another material. Doom Roguelike Arsenal, or Doom RLA for short, is a bit of a slow burner in my experiences, since a lot of the enjoyment comes from continually finding different tools and modifying pre-existing ones as you progress in the WoD of your choosing. The design of this mod with its random elements lend well to something I near always use when playing this, and that's the random level generation tool, Oblige. Combining these two turns Doom into one of the best first-person roguelites I've ever played, and when I talk to others with more experience in the genre, they also agree on this. A good way of showing how enjoyable it is I'll just talk about my most recent run. I picked Technician since I really like the ability to scrap weapons into mod packs, and I spawned with the Stealth Rifle, a silenced rifle that doesn't lurk monsters unlike other weapons, like punching in the air. I was surprised I spawned with a great weapon off the bat. The sound was really good too, reminded me of Predator for some odd reason. I later found 2 shotguns that fire different types of plasma. After scrapping 2 pistols and one of the shotguns I found, I modded bulk on the plasmatic one to increase magazine size, so I don't need to reload as much, but in hindsight I should have gone with technical mods so I can speed up the reload instead. I then found a purple rarity super shotgun and modded 2 technical and a power on it, so it reloaded much faster and packed a little more bite. The mod system is something I really like, as depending on what mods you put on, you might get a completely new gun out of it. Something I was hoping to happen with this rocket launcher as I modded 2 bulk and 2 power on it. A few maps later I found an Uzi which sounded incredible and had a sick as fuck alternative reload. But led to me having to make a choice. Get rid of the rifle or the Uzi. I decided to scrap the rifle and continue on. And that was just the first 8 maps of my run. Doom Roguelike Arsenal isn't in my top 5 favorite gameplay mods, but it is something I tend to go back to every once in a while, and if you are wondering about Doom the Roguelike, its spiritual successor is now on Steam, titled Jupiter Hell, which I hear is pretty good. You see, development ceased on Doom Roguelike for, reasons. Let's wrap this up with another one of my favorite WoDs, Ancient Aliens. If Ancient Aliens could be described in one word, it would be aesthetic. In 2 words, it would be aesthetically pleasing. The color palette consists of a lot of purples, blues, pinks, a few oranges, which I fucking love. A free episode WoD which starts with you smoking a fatty and immediately getting killed by a cyber demon. It's safe to say that this WoD's going to be a bit challenging if you want to pistol start everything. The soundtrack also helps the aesthetically pleasing vibe the entire WoD has, with music by Stuart Stewboy Rhine, and has one of my favorite MIDI-based soundtracks ever. Every once in a while I just gotta listen to a few tracks from it and it's just so good. So soothing as well. Alright, let's talk about my favorite gameplay mod. Final Doomer is a mod that creates weapon sets themed around certain WoDs. Given the name, 1.0 started with TNT Evolution and Plutonia, but now, as of 3.3, has grown to all of this. Each weapon set features replacements from the standard lineup, and while some are incredibly similar, with their differences being mainly audio-visual related, other weapons are more varied. Take Hellbound Guy, who throws C4 and whacks things with a hammer, or Aliens Guy, who uses a bow instead of a chainsaw to lock enemies in stasis. Nightmare Guy has a lot of flame-based weaponry, and the list goes on and on, you get the idea. Got a WoD with multiple episodes? Then pick a different weapon set for each episode. I fucking love it, it's so good. While I really do like gameplay mods with a lot to them, Final Doomer's simplicity makes it very easy to pair together with virtually any WoD I feel like playing. And I reached page 4 of my script, and I promised myself to make shorter videos, so it's time to wrap this up. I really like Doom modding, as you might have figured out. I really want more people to go beyond just that one gameplay mod when talking about what mods are out there. Granted, discussion of that one mod has died down considerably, which is good. I hope to make this an ongoing series where I recommend and expose more great works by talented individuals. So if there's a mod you want me to talk about or feels need more coverage, let me fucking know, and I'm not limiting it to the Doom engine either. I want to cover Quake shit, Half-Life shit, anything that looks cool and needs more eyes on it, I'm on that. That's the video. Stay tuned for the April Fool special where I lose my fucking mind over shotgun combos. But first, I gotta recite Slayer Testaments in preparation for Eternal.